The Seismic 7, Chapter 10, Part 1. With at least 4 beta tunnels complete, I'm still not sure if Eddie and Raquel finished any more. We now have 4 chances to stop a supervolcanic eruption of Yellowstone. This deserves a party. That night, the whole camp is rowdy and lively, filled with games and music. Miss McNamara bought several massive tubs of ice cream for us. Our shouts echo through the cave, laughing as we cram ourselves full of Neapolitan and chocolate chip cookie dough. Who saved the world? Kinsey shouts and points at me and Wyatt. We saved the world, we shout back, grinning our faces off. Who saved the world? We saved the world. You're all a bunch of dorks, Todd says. Look who's talking. Kinsey flings a spoonful of ice cream at Todd, who just manages to duck in time. Ooh, Miss McNamara's setting up bocce ball, Kinsey exclaims, now pointing over Todd's shoulder to the edge of camp. Who's in? Sorry, Kinsey. Wyatt and I have a date with destiny, Todd says, straightening his glasses. A new tub of ice cream has just been set out on the table under one of the kitchen tents. You promised, Wyatt. What I promised was that I could totally own you in an ice cream eating contest, Wyatt replies. If you are ready to be defeated, then by all means. He gestures towards the table. You have no idea who you're messing with, Todd says. Didn't the two of you already each have several bowls? I ask. Those were just the appetizers, Wyatt says. If you guys throw up tonight, you better do it outside the cabin, Kinsey warns. Bree, would you care to join me in a highly sophisticated game of throwing heavy, multicolored balls at other heavy, multicolored balls? It would be my honor, I agree, tipping an imaginary hat at Kinsey. She bows in my direction, motioning towards Miss McNamara at the bocce ball game. We head over together, leaving the boys to their ridiculous contest. Amid all the partying, there's one thing that I can't help but notice. Eddie and Raquel aren't here. Nolan is, but he's in the corner of the kitchen tent, watching a tablet screen of some television show. We tried to get him to come hang out with us earlier, but he flat out acted like we weren't even there. And he refused to answer any of my questions, especially about being Dr. Greer's nephew. But where are Eddie and Raquel? Don't they get to celebrate? I can ask Miss McNamara, I suppose, but before we can get to her, Dr. Greer shows up out of nowhere, standing directly between us and the bocce game. Hello. The geologist clears her throat, looking down at us. There's an awkward pause. I just wanted to thank you both for your hard work. Sounds like this is the most difficult sentence she's ever uttered. I'm trying to figure out how to reply. You're welcome. I mean, it was you who came up with all of this, so we should be thanking you. Yep, Kinsey agrees. She points at Dr. Greer. Who saved the world? She leads a smile spreading across her face. Dr. Greer just furrows her eyebrows. We all work together. Kinsey drops her arms, obviously disappointed that she didn't play along. Behind Dr. Greer, Miss McNamara catches our eyes and gives a sheepish shrug. She clearly knows how awkward this conversation is. I could use some help setting up the game, Miss McNamara says. Any takers? Oh, me, definitely me. Kinsey darts away before I can even open my mouth to respond. Dr. Greer watches her go, and her shoulders fall slightly. It's hard to put into words how important this day is, she says, not looking at me, but clearly still talking to me. I've been working my entire life toward this. Now I really can't leave, or I'll look like a jerk. I nod instead. I'm glad we could help. I have to admit, I was not sold on the idea of bringing you in when Laura first mentioned her plan, Dr. Greer says. But I can see the value now. You're a bright girl, Brianna. If you're willing, I might ask that you help with future projects down the road. You would make an excellent student. What? I try not to actively gape at her, but it's hard not to. We rarely get any kind of compliments from Dr. Greer. I can't process this many nice things from her in a row. The world is full of people who just don't get it, she goes on. But I've watched your aunt's documentaries and your recordings here. You are the type of person I could see becoming a leader for a new generation. Maybe after we are done at Yellowstone, we could have a meeting and I could propose what I'm thinking for our next steps. Sudden laughter interrupts our conversation. Kinsey and Miss McNamara are doubled over, howling about something. I still can't find the words to reply with. Go on, Dr. Greer says, throwing her head over her shoulder in her direction. We can talk later. I hesitate. Behind Dr. Greer, Kinsey and Miss McNamara are chucking bocce balls, punctuating their throws with shouts of, "Who needs the government?" and "Yeah!" It honestly weirds me a little out, especially since Miss McNamara technically works for the government as a National Park Service employee. I'm definitely not as comfortable befriending adults as Kinsey is. I turn back to Dr. Greer, but she's already walking away. Miss McNamara? I ask, interrupting her game with Kinsey. Yes, she answers. The Dr. Greer thing is something I'll have to sort out later. First, I need to ask my original question. Why aren't the other kids here? I stopped myself just in time from saying their names, since Miss McNamara doesn't know we were talking to them down in the tunnels. Shouldn't they be celebrating with us? She stops mid-throw. Oh, yeah, good question, Kinsey agrees, dropping her ball to the mat covering the cave floor and scooting up next to me. Miss McNamara sighs. I don't know. Dr. Greer said they didn't want to come. I guess they're tired. They're on an opposite schedule than you, so now is their time to sleep. That sucks for them, though, Kinsey says. Do they get their own party at some point? We could host it at 4 a.m. or something so they could come. Miss McNamara smiles at her. That's not a bad idea. They deserve one, you know. They've been here even longer than you four. I frown. I don't like how evasive Miss McNamara is being. Eddie and Raquel have been missing for a week now. Something's going on with them, something the adults don't want us to know about. But what? And why? Why do grown-ups never tell kids the whole story? We're not even kids, we're teenagers, and we just set explosives miles deep in our planet. I think we have earned some trust here. Mr. Stiles and Mr. Fee let out huge laughs from across the cavern. I look over at them, both wobbling on their feet, and I realize that they're drunk. My eyebrows shoot up my forehead. Those two, Miss McNamara chastises. Excuse me. She nods at us, then heads towards the men. Bree, take my place in bocce, okay? She calls over her shoulder. Okay, I reply. But as soon as Miss McNamara is out of earshot, I explain my feelings about Eddie and Raquel to Kinsey. Well, duh, Kinsey says when I'm done. She shuttles a ball between her feet. Obviously something weird is going on with them. We definitely should figure out where they are. Any ideas of what we can do? I ask, trying to keep my voice quiet. Tonight, Kinsey replies. She stops the ball by setting her boot on top of it. Tonight, we play bocce and eat ice cream. We're literally surrounded by every person who works for Dr. Greer right now. We're not going to be able to sneak away and play detectives. Good point, I acknowledge. Of course it's a good point, Kinsey says. I'm full of good points. I don't want to let go of the Eddie and Raquel thing completely, but I can't think of anything more to do about them right now. I sigh. I wish I could feel better about our accomplishments from the tunnels, but now I just feel worried. So who was winning? I ask, nodding at the bocce set and trying to distract myself. Oh, totally me. I roll my eyes. Sure you were. Between wanting to solve the Eddie and Raquel mystery and being totally hyped up from the party, I'm surprised at how quickly I managed to drift off to sleep. I marvel at this as I'm shaken awake at some strange hour of the night. Maybe I was able to fall asleep so fast because I finally got my tunnel done. Hey, you, someone's saying. Or maybe it was the sugar crash? Hey, the voice insists. It slowly dawns on me that someone's in the cabin with me. Someone with a voice I don't recognize. Someone who is shoving me repeatedly. I bolt upright. Who are... I start. Shh. The person covers my mouth. I struggle backward in my sleeping bag until I hit the wall of the cabin. I focus on the person in front of me, trying to see them clearly in the dark. It's a teenage girl. Listen, she says. She's wearing a jumpsuit, a lot like mine, and her dark hair is pulled back in a ponytail. I'm Raquel. Eddie and I are here to get you out. Wait, Raquel? I try to ask through her hand. I wonder if I'm dreaming. Where have you guys been? What? I hear from the other side of the cabin through the makeshift curtain. Shh, someone says. Eddie's waking up the boys, Raquel says, as a kid yanks the blankets down in the middle of the cabin. Todd squeaks, grabbing for his sleeping bag as a blanket hits the floor. Oh my goodness, I say, trying not to roll my eyes. The boy next to Todd moves on to wake Wyatt. He looks closer to our age than Raquel. He might even be a little younger than us. Like Raquel, he has dark hair, but his skin is lighter in tone than hers. Raquel lowers her hand from my mouth, possibly tired of me talking against her palm. Be quiet. Help me wake up your other friend. I look at Wyatt, searching for his opinion of the situation. He gives me a small shrug. Then I lean over and shake Kinsey as Raquel covers her mouth. Kinsey, don't panic. Just wake up and be quiet, I say. She sits up like a rocket going off. It's a good thing Raquel has her hand over her mouth because her shrieks would have been ear-piercing otherwise. Kinsey, I whisper loudly. Shh. Just wait a second. It's okay. I look at Raquel, still baffled. It's okay, right? What's going on? Kinsey asked, her voice muffled through Raquel's hand. We're here to save you, Raquel says. This might be our only chance. Stiles and Fee forgot to lock our cabins tonight. Drunk, I'm guessing. I heard them partying, which can't be good. We have to go, now. Forgot to lock our cabins? But our cabins are never locked. I watch Eddie and Raquel carefully, and goosebumps prickle down my arms. We have to... What? Todd asks. He looks uncertain if he's allowed to talk. Do you guys want to stay prisoner or not? Eddie demands. Prisoner? Todd replies, his eyes widening. But we're not. Did you think you were here on vacation? Raquel asked him. Now come on, we have to get out and warn everyone. What are you talking about? Wyatt asked. Warn everyone about what? The supervolcano, Eddie replies. Oh, Todd says, is that what you're worried about? It's okay, we just finished our first tunnels. We're safer than ever from that thing. Something tells me Todd might be missing the point, and that same something is making me tremble uncontrollably in the dark. Prisoners. My brain continues to repeat Eddie and Raquel's words. Warn everyone. You think those tunnels are made to keep people safe? Eddie scoffs. What kind of messed up story did they feed you? My heart pounds in my chest. One by one, all the weird things I've noticed through the past several weeks fall into place. No. You're here to trigger the volcano, Eddie says, just like us. We're meant to drill down to the lava and then die in the explosion. If you want to stay and let that happen, go for it, man. But if anyone wants out, now's your chance. We didn't have to come get you, you know. All four of us stare at their pair of kids. Every good feeling I had from finishing my beta tunnel falls straight down through my stomach and crashes onto the cabin floor.